Good morning. We are in Kri'at Shema this morning, beginning. So we're going to discuss Rambam Perokim Kri'at Shema Halacha Dal. It's something that is quite famous, but I'm not sure that the Rambam's take on this is so famous. So, just as an introduction, we read Kri'at Shema every morning, and we all know, maybe some of us don't know that we say it. Well, we say Shema, followed by Baruch Shem Kavod Machus Leilava, and then V'ahavta, and the rest of Shema. Now, anybody who opens up a Chumash will find out that it doesn't say the words Baruch Shem Kavod Machus in Parsha of Shema. So obviously that's been added in, which is a very, very strange thing. You know, it's a mitzvah deraisa to read Shema, and yet we added it. So what's going on? So the Rambam discussed. He said, "Kri'at Shema, Yeshu Goimer Pasuk Rishon." When he finishes the first pasuk, Oimer, he says, Malachash, quietly, Baruch Shem Kavod Machus Leilava V'ad. There you have the Koirei Kedarkoi, and then he goes back to reading normally. V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha Atzei. Heck, the Rambam, the Lama Koirei came. Why do you read so? Why do you read so? It is a tradition that we have handed down. When Yankov gathered his children in Mitzrayim, was when he was going to bless them. When he was dying. Sivam, he commanded them. Vizirzam, and he encouraged them. Al Yichud Hashem, on the unity of the Eibishter. V'al Hashem, and the path of God. Sheholach ba'Avram v'Yitzchak Aviv, the path that his father and Avram Yitzchak, his parents, Avram Yitzchak, his grandparents, his father, went. V'Sha'al, and he asked them, V'amalem Bonai, Shema Yezrechem Paslus. Do you have anything that's not good, that is, that would not allow you to be in the holiness that I'm talking about? One who doesn't stand with me in the unity of God. And now here the Rambam adds, just as Moshe Rabbeinu said to us, Moshe turns to the Eden and says, perhaps you have amongst you a man or a woman who doesn't have his heart complete with God. On Ukulam, they all said, Shema Yisrael, God is one. You're in it. We're with you. You, Father Yisrael. Not Yisrael meaning the Jews. You, Father, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We are totally in Yichud Hashem. Okay. So the old one, meaning Yankov, guy said, he said, Baruch Shem Kavod Machus Leilava V'ad. That, the one above. With whatever else it means, which we're not going to get into. Says the Rambam, Lefichach, therefore, Nogu Kol Yisrael, Leima Shrach, Shashibach Be Yisrael, Hazoking, Achar Pasuk Zeh. Therefore, we all say this great praise that the old Yisrael, the great Yisrael, the old one, our grandfather and father, Yankov, said after Pasuk. Now, this is the Rambam's take, but it's not the Gemara's take. And we will go through the issues with the Rambam, but let me just tell you what the Gemara says. Gemara says, I asked the question, why do we say Baruch Shem? What tells you Rosh Hashanah said. Yankim called together his children to give them a bracha. No, not to give him a bracha. Sorry. Bikish Yankim the Gal is the one of Kates Hayamin. Wanted to tell them when Mashiach is going to come, what's going to, at least that's the symbol types. It's going to be a lot more than that, but it's, when it's Tal Kavi Man Shechina. And the Shechina suddenly left him. Oh, maybe amongst my children there's somebody that's not worthy, that's not appropriate. Kavram, and then he compares it like Avram, Yatzim and Yishmael, Vavi Yitzchak, Yatzim and Esav. Do I have somebody here that's in that league? That's possible. I'm like Banav Shmai Hashem. Amru, here they explain. Kishem Shem Belivcha Elacha, Kachem Beliv Beino Elach. And with Shema Yisrael, we have your echad. But you have echad either. Oh, but it's a Shabbat Sayangavino. I'm a bar saying, so out comes along the Gemara and says that Rabbanan were in a dilemma. What do we do? Should we say it? I shouldn't say it. Should we not say it? Yankim said it. So I said, you know what? Say it quietly. And Rabbi Yitzchak brings a mashal about it. Okay. All right, so let's compare the Gemara's version and Rambam's version. First of all, the Rambam doesn't mention anything about being Megala Kate Sayom. It just says, Sivam Vizirzim Al Yichud Hashem. Al Derech Hashem. All about Ram Yitzchak of it. Number one. Doesn't say anything about revealing to them. Kate Sayom. According to the Rambam, he asked them out of the blue. Shema Yezrechem Paslas. Or are you not with me in Yichud Hashem? It doesn't say what caused the Shiloh. In the Gemara it says, Al Kashrina, he got scared. Got a reason to be concerned. And in the Gemara it compares it to Avram, to Yitzchak. The Rambam compares it to Moshe. Because Moshe asked the same question. Gemara doesn't mention that in you altogether. The Rambam used a lashon lefichach nohagu kol Yisrael. Doesn't discuss why, when, what's the issue. Nohagu kol Yisrael. The Gemara sounds like the Chachamim came up with this idea, how to do it. This that he writes, let's read the words. Hakoyre Kri'at Shema. Oimer Balachas Baruch Shem. Again, no explanation why you do it. Balachas. Didn't say anything. Now, he starts off with Koire, ends off with Koire, but when it comes to Baruch Shem, he says Oimer. And as we said, Nohagu. What's the Nohagu? Okay. So it's quite obvious that the Rambam is not basing what he's saying on the Gemara. He's very different than the Gemara. Doesn't give the story of the Gemara. He's very different points. And he's not trying to megallicate, but he was tzivam v'zirzim al yichud Hashem v'al derech Hashem. If I were a darshan and I were interested in a sermon, I can bring all that together. But I'm not, so we'll leave it as is. It's not my goal, not my job right now. Perhaps his source is not from the Gemara and Pesachim, but from a Sifri in Parshas V'Eschanon, Tanchuma and Parshas V'Yechid. In Sifri in Parshas V'Eschanon it says, Now it's similar to what Moshe Rabbeinu did to the Yidden, and he told them about all the things and what they have to do and so forth when he was passing on. So Yaakov was passing on. And he directed them. He used the word rebuke, but I think that's the meaning here so much. It's not rebuke. He was directing them. After he dealt with each one individually, he called them all together. Says maybe there's somebody here that doesn't get along with, doesn't agree with the unity of God. He uses the word machlikas on Misham. So no, just like you don't have, we don't have. That's what it means. Yaakov bowed down to the head of the bed. Says, who is he? He was thanking the Eibishter. And the Malkan Chuma adds, Miyad his chaleim alam bakoshim ikem hayu mechabdim lakadosh baruch hu shkedeim shekavdu avaisai. He told them differently. Told them, honor God like my forefathers did, and my fathers did. And he said quietly, and David said, good, Kim has to know. Okay, there's a lot of discussion about this. Kim has to know. I don't want to get into it, but I wanted to bring out the Rambam shit. And I think it's so obvious and clear and beautiful. Based on this message, Rambam doesn't mention anything about forgetting the Kates and the Sila Kashchino, because there's nothing there. Just Siva Vazirzim, like he says there, he called them together. Koshim Ikem Mechabdim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kashem Shekavdu Avaisai. Chabdim doesn't mean he lost anything here. He says, Yesh Mechem Paslus, not Paslus. That's Stam Paslus. Misha Eina Oimid Imi B'Yichrash. He wasn't questioning whether they're Chas V'Sholem, denying the Eibishter. They're not on his level. That's why you can't compare it to Ishmael. You can't compare it to Esau. And that's why he adds, why are you Chayshim Jews? Where did you see? You didn't see anything. Nothing happened to make you think like that. Zak Rambam, he did it just like Moshe did. And you're coming to give them the future and the basis of their life and their whole history that's going to be coming, their whole future of what's now is so many of it is history now. So, and as Rambam said just a couple of Perokim ago in Hilchos Tshuva, that if you chas v'sholem chesed somebody, shemeisim odom kosher b'daiting b'lavera. No, that's not a chashad, but this is the way you give over. You have to clarify that everybody's on a level that are worthy of the brachas and everything you're giving. Oh, listen to this. So the Rambam says, a koirei Kri'at Shema, v'chayze v'koirei kedarka. And by Baruch Shem, he says, oimer malachos. Very simple. Kri'at Shema is a din of Kriya. We know, koirei, Kriya, always, Kriya, shows practice, Kriya, everything is Kriya. You're reading from the Torah. Baruch Shem, you're not reading in the Torah, you're saying it. That's why he changes the lashon. So he's telling you, in middle of reading, you stop and say something. You're being mafsik the Kriya with Baruch Shem. It's not Kriya. Then you go back to Kriya. So I have no problem why you say Baruch Shem quietly, because it's Omer, it's not Kriya. Middle of Kriya, there's no place for Omer, so you do it quietly. And why you do it? Because you want to say the Shach. Listen closely. What is the Rambam's next line? V'loma koirikach. What does it mean, lema koirikach? doesn't mean on the Kohen Kach means Baruch Hashem. Why am I reading Kri'at Shema with a hefsek? Why am I reading the rest of Kri'at Shema with a hefsek? Why is that? And the answer is because we want to bring in the Shvach Sheshibach Yisrael Hazokim. The Magen Avraham in Simon Samach Aleph writes the name of the Bach. You don't say Baruch Shem, Ein Machzir Nes. And then he means Levush says, not only are you Machzir Nes, but if you said it without Kavanah, you're Tzarech. That Baruch Shem is an integral part. The Chayim Machlekes is whether it's part of Kri'at Shema or not. Yeah. We'll discuss it if we get to it. So you could say, according to Rambam, it's only a minig. I don't think so. The word is Lama Koyrin Kane. This is the way the setup of the Kriya is now. Kriya is with a hefsek of Baruch Shem. There's a big view, as we all know, that on that when we have Tainais and things, and there's a big events where they all together, Yom Tshuva, Yom Tyler, they say afterwards the nusach that we say by Ne'ilah. And you say Shema Yisrael, and then everybody says Baruch Shem 3 times, loud. So the Tzlach says that the only problem is when you're being mafsik between Shema and V'ahavta. So then we say, Moshe didn't say it, you say it quietly. So he says, from here I learn a schus, a k'tzas kehilas, that they say out Baruch Shem loud. According to the Rambam, it's beautiful. Of course you can say it out loud. Because you're not being koirei now, Kriya Shema. You're not being koirei Shema. You're saying Shema. When you're saying Shema, Baruch Shem is a mechutin just like Shema. And you can say it out loud. And that's the Rambam minig, but once it's a minig, it's part of that's the way it was set up. All right. So again, the bottom line is that the Rambam has his own take on this, probably based somewhat on that the Midrashim, not the Gemara's take. And the Lachas Rambam doesn't have a problem with it because it's obvious that you cannot put it into the Kriya of Shema. Kriya is laning, is open. It has to be different. It's obvious it has to be different. And I think that the Chiddush of the Rambam is that the Kriya of Shema requires a lachash of Baruch Shem. That's the way it's set up. Kapanim, I believe that could fit very nicely in the words of the Rambam, and it definitely does fit nicely in the words of the Rambam. Anyway, Tzlach Rava.